While recently cleaning my house, and this doesn't happen very often, I started to think about the way I was getting the cleaning done. Now, the simple act of cleaning required me to start by making even more mess. I would pull everything out of an area, I would analyze all the bits and pieces, I'd throw away the items that I didn't need anymore. Then, after the clutter had been cleared, everything got put back in its place, much more ordered than it was before I started. Now, it was this act of having to go a little bit backwards to go forwards that interested me. The fact that to create order, I had to first create a little bit of chaos. Now, I started to see some parallels between making the changes to the cleanliness of my apartment and making changes in my life. See, humans have this predisposition to cling to the familiar, an aversion to risk that means avoiding the unknown. Now, this is an evolutionary trait and it's designed to protect us, but if adopted too much can be a serious roadblock to achieving growth. Now, there's safety and comfort in routine, and I'll give you an example of what I mean. Say Sally wakes up every day. She gets ready for work with the same news channel on. She drives to work listening to the same radio station. She stops at the same place to buy her morning coffee, and she talks with the same people around the office and eats lunch with the same friend every day in the same cafe. Now, Sally drives home listening to the same radio show and she watches the same TV shows of an evening. Now, this is a routine that Sally's become comfortable with, that she's grown accustomed to. But by doing the same thing day in, day out, Sally limits her exposure to new experiences. Now, I'm not against routine. I come from a background in project management, and having routine means I've always been able to optimize tasks to be done in the most efficient way. Now, when something is predictable, it can be systemized, meaning I'm more effective with managing my time and I can basically maximize my results. But how I complete my work is quite different to how I try to live my life. Now, I don't think that daily routine is always a good thing. I think when you subject yourself to the same pattern of movements, you seriously limit your exposure to opportunities to challenge your beliefs and ideas. Something that everyone should strive to do every day, I think. Now, we're all social creatures and we will gravitate to people who tend to be like ourselves. So that's another evolutionary trait. And while this is comfortable, when you surround yourself with people who reflect your ideas and opinions, you create this echo chamber that is terrible for new ideas or thoughts. The extreme example of this is what you would find in a cult. Now, I would never tell Sally how to live her life. She might be completely content, and if asked, she wouldn't change a thing about her life. Occasionally, you do run into these people. They often seem strange in their serenity and joy in the smallest of things, but most likely, Sally isn't completely content. She isn't happy with certain aspects of her life, but will go years before anything has changed. Now, why is that? Now, I'm in an industry where people are not happy. They're not happy with their bodies, their fitness, the way they look, etc. One of the hardest parts of my job is convincing these people that if they want to achieve the things they want, that change is required. And it's going to be disruptive. It's going to be uncomfortable. And very occasionally, you come across a client who has reached a breaking point. They've gotten to the point where something has triggered them emotionally that is powerful enough to drive them. And these are your brides trying to fit into their wedding dress. These are people who have had a health scare from their doctor. These are people who are training for an event that they've committed to. And these are the people who need to change something that they cannot accept. And one of the most powerful examples of an emotional trigger that I've heard of in a client actually comes from a fellow PT and one of his clients. Now, the client came to him carrying a few extra kilos, saying that he wanted to lose weight and would do whatever it took. And he turned up week after week and he put everything he had into every session, often pushing himself to vomiting from exertion. And for months, my friend asked his client what his motivation was. For months, he didn't get an answer. And after a while, a bit of rapport had built up between his client and my friend, and the client told him. And while shedding a tear, he said that one day, whilst Picking his young daughter up from school, she asked him, "Daddy, why are you fatter than all the other daddies?" This one sentence changed his life. Years later, he's an athlete. He competes in marathons and triathlons. His whole family are fit and active. And one moment changed this man's life. Now, unfortunately, most of us will never come across a trigger this powerful. Sally may go through her whole life, never truly happy, but unwilling to change anything due to fear of the unknown. Now, I constantly mix up my routine. I try to work at a new place each week. I try to talk to people I've never spoken to before. I try and watch and read things I never thought I would read. And I try activities that I've never tried. And I'm noticing an incredible amount of positive things that are happening in my life as a result of this. If I'm being really honest, I wish I started doing it 10 years earlier. Not only does this mean that I'm constantly experiencing new things, but I'm constantly expanding my horizons and upgrading my ideas. And change creates opportunities and it ignites growth. Now, science tells us that a life full of new experiences is perceived as longer. Have you ever driven the same route home you drive from work every single day, only to get home and realise you physically can't remember the trip? This is your brain's form of optimization. And this is your brain recognising that there is no new information, no new stimulus worth recording. So it throws out the data of the memory. Have you ever thought that the month has flown by, the year? Think back on how many truly unique experiences you've had over that time. Why would you have memories if all you've done is follow the same routine day in, day out? Also think about how happy you truly are. Do you love your job? Would you do it if they didn't pay you? Now, if I had unlimited money, I imagine I'd be doing something pretty similar to what I do now. I'd be doing obstacle races, I'd be taking people through the obstacle races, and I'd be getting people to join me, in my fitness journey. What would you change about your life if you could? I want you to think hard about this, and then I want you to ask yourself, what's stopping you from changing it? And I bet nothing is stopping you except your fear of that change. Your resistance to leave this safe little bubble you've created for yourself. And this bubble will hold you back from leading your best life. And until you have the initiative to change it, until you have the courage to take a leap, you may feel comfortable, but you'll never truly live your life. So I ask you this, what is one change that you can make today, this week, or this month? Listen to a different radio station, stop at a different coffee shop, eat lunch with a different person at a different cafe. Start making changes and opportunities will arise. Start having the courage to change the things that you're not happy with. Strive to do this daily and I guarantee you, your life will be better.